Boo! And welcome to your NEWSMAX Daily for Thursday, October 31st, Halloween 2024. And boo, the Dodgers are World Series champs again. I'm just kidding, Dodger fans, and I'm a Mets fan anyway. LA beat New York in Game 5 last night in Yankee Stadium. That's the tough part.
Pure elation. I'm just so proud of our guys.
Dodgers manager Dave Roberts, congratulations to them and Dodger Nation. In fact, we will hear from a former Dodger World Series champ in a little bit. Here's a hint. He's running for office. While you think about that, Halloween, as you may know, started out as All Hallows Eve, literally hundreds of years ago. And since making its way to America in the mid-1800s has become the second biggest money-making holiday behind Christmas. The National Retail Federation says more than $12 billion will be spent on Halloween this year, much of that coming from the sale of more than 600 million pounds of candy. President Biden and the First Lady handed out candy to kids at the White House yesterday, and former President Donald Trump also celebrated Halloween yesterday, dressing up as a garbage man, which is likely to become a popular costume at the last minute.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
Trump, wearing the orange and yellow sanitation workers vest, had a sanitation truck painted with a Trump Vance logo and drove it to the rally in Wisconsin. Epic.
Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. And they mean it. Even though, without question, my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lion Kamala. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just can't.
If it were earlier in the election, that could become a slogan, right? What a great line. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. With the sanitation worker vest on. They will never admit it, but even people that hate Trump are secretly like, yeah, that's good. That's funny. And I'm looking at this, right? He still has his tailored white shirt on with what are likely expensive cufflinks and the sanitation worker vest on top. And it's kind of appropriate, though, symbolically or metaphorically speaking. He had to clean up the country after the Obama-Biden presidency, and now he has to clean up the country again and take out the trash after the Biden-Harris presidency, metaphorically. And this is how Vice President Harris addressed the comment from Biden.
I intend to be president for all Americans, and including those who may not vote for me in this election. I take very seriously my obligation and my oath to concern myself first with the needs of the American people and put them before whatever might be my selfish issues.
More from NEWSMAX host Carl Higbie.
What's so funny, the Republicans insult Democrats, and they throw this hissy fit with a bunch of thin-skinned they-thems, wall-to-wall coverage about how Trump's rhetoric is dangerous while simultaneously calling us Nazis. And what do Republicans do? We put it on a T-shirt. My buddy Graham bought me this one this morning with a garbage can wearing a MAGA hat. And it says garbage for Trump or something. Because some genius already is rolling these off the printing press. But the best thing is the media. They're actually trying to bury, the left-wing media, they're trying to bury this. The same media that fact-checks conservatives all the time. So, it's missing context, and rails about misinformation. They changed the transcript of what Biden actually said. I mean, this isn't the first time they've done this, too. They changed it to, the only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. They added an apostrophe to make it seem like it was possessive. He was demonization of Latinos is unconscionable, and it's un-American. Literally, when we, at my production team, typed this out today, it gave us that red squiggly line underneath because it was trying to correct us because the transcript is so grammatically incorrect. You can't do that. the usual suspects, like the New York Times, are just like lapping this stuff up too, saying, quote, in a posting on social media, President Biden said he was talking about racist language, not Trump supporters. No, he was not. Basically, they're just doing the bidding of the White House again. And I say again because yesterday this broke that the New York Times, dare I say a garbage paper, just before an election was running a hit piece about 30 influential, very influential conservatives for what they called election misinformation. This is great if you didn't see this. The same media who rails about journalistic standards, democracy dies in the darkness at the Washington Post, has absolutely no standards whatsoever. Here, read the text that was sent to one of those 30 this is Nico Grant from the New York Times. He's apocalypse food, essentially. Quote, Media Matters identified 286 YouTube videos between May and August that contained election misinformation. Goes on to say, would you like to address any of these points? And basically all of their responses were the same from all 30 people. But one, would I like to participate in your attempt to censor me? No thanks. But I would hope that you'll quote what I wrote above and also note that I told you to F off, which I'm now doing. Thanks. Good for you guys. This is how you should all respond to this stuff. Every single person should respond. These people are going to publish whatever garbage they want. All of our comments should be F off. Oh, Carl, your rhetoric is terrible. Let me be clear. I don't care what you say to me anymore, New York Times. You're a hack newspaper. The New York Times is using left-wing, nonprofit funded by the most liberal donors, Media Matters data on what is misinformation to publish a piece that we know will be used as a fact check to those same conservatives to have them deplatformed or demonetized or throttled back or whatever they do. You see how this game works? They did the same thing with the Russian collusion hoax. That was all BS. Why should I give a flying you-know-what about what these people publish?
Carl Higbie keeping it real on Frontline, 5 p.m. Eastern on NEWSMAX. And staying with fact-checking for a moment, Snopes, the fact-check people, have come out and said, yes, there really were no American flags at the Kamala Harris President Obama event at Temple University a few days ago. Multiple videos, you may have seen them, were posted on social media by conservative outlets and Trump supporters and labeled as edited or false information. Snopes says, nope, it is true. There was some red and blue lighting, there were some stars, but no American flags were found. And as I mentioned yesterday, NFL Hall of Famer Brett Favre spoke at the Trump rally in Wisconsin yesterday.
You know the definition of insanity. I think we all know it. It's doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So it's time to bench Kamala and put in the star quarterback, Donald Trump.
Congressman Tom Tiffany of Wisconsin, who had some harsh words for President Biden, spoke with our Bianca De La Garza.
Remember Bianca back when he did the background, wasn't it in Philadelphia with this deep red background? I mean, it came across as extremely harsh, and it was meant that way. I mean, we all have known Joe Biden views us this way. Look at the country with a border that's not secure, the inflation that we have. I mean, he left 13 of our finest at the gates of the Kabul airport. And Joe Biden has this problem, which he's been a politician for 40 or 50 years. He believes we serve him, not the other way around. So this should not be surprising to people. But the thing that really concerns me, Bianca, is they know they're headed in the wrong direction. And they're going to try to do the same thing after the 2016 election to President Trump and derail his presidency.
Wisconsin Republican Rep Tom Tiffany on NEWSMAX. Vice President Harris was also in Wisconsin last night.
We will win because when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for.
Do any of those people cheering actually even know what she stands for? And once again, the vice president's event was interrupted by a pro-Palestinian protester.
We have an opportunity hey, you know what? Listen, we all want the war in Gaza to end and get the hostages out as soon as possible, and I will do everything in my power to make it heard and known, and everyone has a right to be heard, but right now I am speaking.
And again, right now, you are the vice president. Donald Trump also at a rally in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, where NEWSMAX spoke with some supporters of the former president.
Well, they're all about, just things that are offensive, trying to censor those things, but they're trying to pay these things back with more offensive rhetoric.
It did not make me feel good, no, but I know who I am in Christ, so, and that doesn't bother me at all.
Everybody's saying that we need to tone our rhetoric down, and it's nothing but hate. You want to bring the Republican vote towards yourself, but then you're calling us garbage.
But, is that really what you want? Somebody that calls other people garbage like that?
It's a political narrative, and it's rhetoric, and they push it to make us look bad, but it's not going to stop us from actually getting out and making a decision.
A few of the many young voters in line at the Trump rally in North Carolina Wednesday. Today, the former president will host 2 more rallies again in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Henderson, Nevada. His 10th, I think it is, or 11th rally since Friday. Vice President Harris is headed west as well with events in Nevada and Arizona. Rob Schmidt spoke about the state of affairs with South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem joins us now to talk more about this, and it's good to have you back on the show. I don't like to feign being offended the way a lot of people on the left do. They can say anything they want. They want to call people garbage. They want to call us garbage. I guess that's free speech. But I will say that this has got to be the stupidest possible thing that the president could have said in a moment like this. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I think is interesting about this whole situation is that all of us believe that Biden, Harris, and the Democrats really do think this about Trump supporters. Yeah. I think what's shocking to everybody is that they were so dumb to actually say it this close to the election. And then I also think that the media trying to spin it the way that they are, they must think we're all idiots, that we would actually fall for the fact that they weren't referring to Trump supporters. So I know this is a big topic of conversation. We just saw what revealed what their real true thoughts are about all of us who believe in President Trump. But we've got bigger fish to fry and a lot bigger issues to talk about in this election. And at the end of the day, people are suffering and they need a better economy and more money in their pockets.
Yeah, I mean, I live in New York. I know exactly what the left thinks of people that vote for Donald Trump and what they think of Trump himself. I've known that for years now. And honestly, it's funny. If he were smarter, if Joe Biden were smarter, I would almost think that this was like an intentional final dagger for the VP that we know he hates, because you could not have done anything worse in this moment than what he said.
I agree. And he's done this several times recently now. So, gosh, these guys are a train wreck. I mean, honestly, at how these Democrats aren't unified. And for all of us that are watching it from the outside, it's interesting because usually they fall in line. They're so disciplined to not have an individual thought themselves, but to just do what they're told. So this is interesting to see this kind of rebellion, and then to see Joe Biden openly make several of these mistakes does make you wonder if it's intentional.
I don't think he's capable of that.
I don't know either.
Much intellect anymore, but it did make me wonder. Kamala going back to the ellipse, the J6 speech location, with the only argument that she could possibly have at this point, which is Trump is scary and you should vote for me by default. What do you think of what we saw last night?
Well, if she would have gone there and given a hopeful speech, one that showed a belief in America and how special we are, I would have loved hearing that kind of a message. Instead, it was more hatred and division and focus on ugliness and demonizing your opponent. And that's just not what America is about. So I turned it on for about 2 minutes and listened and then couldn't listen anymore. Yeah. It's just gotten to be where I don't know who she is. I don't know what she believes other than what she's shown us the last 4 years. Yeah. And I don't know very many people in my state or across this country that are excited to see 4 more years of what we just went through. It's been rough.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem on Rob Schmidt tonight. That is 7 o'clock Eastern on NEWSMAX. One of the biggest down-ballot races in the country is the California Senate race between former Congressman Adam Shifty Schiff and former Major League Baseball star and businessman Steve Garvey, who spoke with Charla McBride on Wake Up America.
All the major issues in this election, crime, the economy, and the border, they're all front and center in California as well. And you are a strong supporter of Prop 36, I know, which would reverse a previous proposition that reduced penalties for serious offenses. Recent polling says almost 75% of voters support it as well. But your opponent who says crime is his top priority, refuses to say that he's voting for it. What do you make of that?
Well, like I said in my first debate, when he started attacking me, I said, you, sir, have lied to 300 million people and you can't take that back. And that was all through that impeachment time. And what he says and what he's done over 25, 30 years is exactly the opposite. People know me. Millions of people watch me for 20 years, playing in Los Angeles and San Diego. They trust me. And all of a sudden, a little over a year ago, I decided to run in this one-party state and to get people to stand up and get engaged in politics again. And Charlotte, we've done some significant things over this last year. We're very optimistic. I wanted to accomplish registering more people than ever before. In the last 6 months, we've done that in all 58 counties. I wanted to engage more really talented young men and young women to stand up, get involved in conservative politics in California. And it's arguably the most difficult seat because you start out about 25 points behind because of the disparity in registered voters. But we've done that. We've talked about the quality of life and about safety, about the economy and inflation. We've talked about the border. Rarely are people talking about education, so important because the future of our country are our young leaders. And, we won the primary and the temporary seat by over 300,000. But, we started about 25 points behind. Now we think we're in single digit. And I get up every morning at this time fighting for the people of California. And they know that this guy that they went to work with a lot over the years is a true Californian, believes in them, believes in the people, and they're standing up all over. And we're excited about next Tuesday.
And Steve, I want to ask you, you're there on the ground and you're talking to people in California. What are the top of mind issues that they really care about this election?
Well, of course, it is the economy. And people may try to look at other things that are so very, very important, like crime and the border. But mom's getting up every morning trying to figure out what they can afford that week. Dad going to the gas station and realizing, as many people do, I'm going to have to pay cash for it, $10 instead of 10 gallons. But I think the most important thing is when you're in a one-party state, it has a tendency to suppress the people. But people now are... like the old network movie, Mad as Hell, they're not going to take it. They believe in me. And that clip you had a few minutes ago with Ronald Reagan, he was my mentor. I used to introduce him at rallies. And I asked him one day, I said, Mr. President, what do you really believe in? And he looked at me, he called me Stephen. He said, Stephen, I believe in God, lower taxes, smaller government, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's what I'm mentoring to the people and talking to them based on common sense, compassion, and consensus building, and of course, faith, family, and freedom.
Faith, family, and freedom. Ronald Reagan's old friend, Stephen Garvey, as he said, in a battle with Adam Schiff for the California Senate seat that was vacated by Dianne Feinstein. Garvey, as he mentioned, played for San Diego and the LA Dodgers. He won a World Series with LA in 1981 against the New York Yankees. Congratulations again to the Dodgers. Steve's daughter actually works for KABC in LA as part of the broadcast team last night, so that was really cool for them. Thursday Night Football has the Houston Texans at the New York Jets. They'll make a big deal about that because of Aaron Rodgers, and after last night, New York fans need something to cheer about. On Wall Street in downtown New York City, stock markets opened deep in the red today after disappointing earnings late yesterday from Microsoft and some other companies. This morning, Shell Oil, the first of the big oil companies to report earnings, posted a profit of $6 billion. The Biden administration this morning announced an $825 million investment in a new semiconductor research and development plant. You've heard about this for some time. It's going to be in Albany, New York, which is the state capital. The administration also says it's finalizing rules that will limit how much money U.S. companies could invest in AI and other technology in China. Be sure to keep up with all of the news on Newsmax and NEWSMAX.com, and make sure you're streaming with the new NEWSMAX Plus. For the most complete lineup of all your favorite shows, hosts, and guests, check out NEWSMAXPlus.com. For Rob Schmidt tonight, Greg Kelly reports. Frontline with Carl Higbie, Newsline with Bianca De La Garza, The Record with Greta Van Susteren, Wake Up America, and much, much more with a slew of experts like political analyst Mark Halpern, Hogan Gidley, Judge Napolitano, Senator Rick Santorum, Governor Huckabee, Carrie Lake, and many, many others. I'm Tony Marino. Thank you, as always, for listening to the NEWSMAX Daily. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Halloween. Take the kids out. Do some trick-or-treating. Have some fun. Be careful. And keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the NEWSMAX app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
It's Jerry Callahan from The Callahan Show. You can listen to us every day. We react to the latest news, politics, sports, and all the madness in the world. I'll give you my opinion with a little edge, a little attitude. I'm an unapologetic right-winger, trapped behind enemy lines in deep blue Boston, so I'm used to taking on the mainstream media mob. You can hear us anywhere you get your podcast, or you can listen every day at newsmax.com/listen.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is NEWSMAX. It's real news for real people.